Marcus Chen wiped sweat from his forehead as he checked the water recycling systems one more time. The mining station on Kepler 442c was his home now, and he had grown used to the endless red dust and strange purple sunsets. He was the only human on this planet, sent here to prepare it for future colonists. His job was simple but important. Make sure the water systems worked perfectly. The alarm on his wrist buzzed. Something had crashed about 10 miles from his station. Marcus looked at his scanner and saw a large object burning in the distance. It was not a meteor. The shape was too smooth, too perfect. Someone had built this thing. He grabbed his emergency pack and climbed into his rover. The ride across the rocky desert was bumpy, but Marcus had driven this path many times before. As he got closer to the crash site, he could see that the object was definitely a ship. But it looked nothing like human ships. The metal seemed to shift colors in the light, and strange symbols covered its surface. Marcus parked his rover and walked carefully toward the wreckage. The ship was split open on one side, and he could see inside. Strange blue lights flickered weakly. The air around the ship felt different, almost electric. He called out but heard no answer. When he reached the opening, Marcus looked inside and gasped. There was someone in there. But this was not a human. The being lay crumpled against what looked like a control panel. She was tall and thin, with skin that seemed to glow faintly blue. Her hair was long and silver, moving slightly even though there was no wind. Most shocking of all, Marcus could see through parts of her body. She looked like she was made of crystal and light. Marcus climbed into the ship. The being was breathing, but very slowly. Her eyes were closed, and her glowing skin was getting dimmer. She was dying. He knelt beside her and checked for injuries. There were no cuts or broken bones, but something was very wrong. Her skin felt hot and dry like desert sand. Marcus had seen this before in humans who had lost too much water. Without thinking, Marcus pulled out his water bottle. He lifted her head gently and brought the bottle to her lips. "Come on," he whispered. "Drink something." A few drops of water touched her lips. Suddenly her eyes opened wide. They were the most beautiful eyes Marcus had ever seen, like looking into clear ocean water with stars floating inside. The alien woman stared at him in complete shock. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out at first. Then she whispered something in a language Marcus did not understand. It sounded like music mixed with the sound of wind through crystals. "It's okay," Marcus said softly. "You're safe now. Here, drink more water." He helped her take small sips from his bottle. With each drop of water, her skin began to glow brighter. The crystal-like parts of her body became clearer. She was becoming more solid, more real. After she had drunk about half the bottle, the alien woman sat up. She looked at Marcus with wonder and fear. She spoke again in her musical language, then shook her head and tried to speak in English. You gave me water," she said. Her voice was soft and beautiful, but she seemed frightened by what she had said. "Of course," Marcus replied. "You were dying. Anyone would have done the same thing." The alien woman's eyes grew even wider. She reached out with one glowing hand and touched Marcus's face. Her skin was warm and felt like smooth glass. "Anyone would have done the same," she repeated slowly, as if the words were impossible to believe. "What's your name?" Marcus asked. "I'm Marcus Chen. I work here alone, taking care of the water systems for future human colonists." "My name?" She paused, looking confused. "My name is Zarathiel. I was a princess of the ethereal dominion." She said the last part like she was not sure it was still true. "A princess?" Marcus smiled. "Well, Your Highness, you're on Kepler 442c now. This is human territory. What happened to your ship?" Zarathiel looked around at the wreckage. "We were attacked by rebels from our own people. My escape pod was damaged. I crashed here and thought I would die." She looked back at Marcus with those star-filled eyes. "But you gave me water." "Yeah, well, that's what humans do. We help people who need help." Zarathiel stood up slowly. She was much taller than Marcus, almost 7 feet high. Her body seemed to be made of living crystal that caught and reflected light in amazing ways. "Your people do this? They give water to strangers?" "Water is just water," Marcus said with a shrug. "Everyone needs it to live." Zarathiel stepped back from him like he had said something terrible. "Just water?" No. Water is sacred. Water is life. Water is only shared between..." She stopped talking and stared at him. "Between what?" Marcus asked. "Between bonded souls," Zarathiel whispered. Water can only be given freely between those who share their hearts. It is our most sacred law. Marcus felt confused. But that doesn't make sense. If someone is dying and needs water, you give them water. It doesn't matter who they are. That is not our way, Zarathiel said. She was looking at Marcus like he was the most strange and wonderful thing she had ever seen. For 1,000 years, no ethereal has shared water with a stranger. It creates a bond that cannot be broken. What kind of bond? Marcus asked. But even as he spoke, he began to feel something strange. There was a warm feeling in his chest, like sunlight spreading through his body. He could sense Zarathiel's emotions, her confusion, her fear, and something else. Something that felt like recognition. The Velthara, Zarathiel said quietly, the joining of hearts across the water. I can feel your thoughts at the edge of my mind. You can feel mine too, can't you? Marcus nodded slowly. It was true. He could sense her presence in a way he had never felt with another person. Is this bad? He asked. My people will say it is forbidden, Zarathiel replied. They will say I am contaminated by alien touch, but... She looked into his eyes. But I have never felt anything so right in all my long life. Before Marcus could ask what she meant, they heard a deep humming sound from the sky. Looking up, they saw 3 ships descending through the purple clouds. The ships were beautiful and terrible, made of the same crystal-like material as Zarathiel's skin. My people, Zarathiel said, but she did not sound happy. They have found me. That's good, right? Marcus asked. They can take you home. Zarathiel looked at him sadly. They will take me home. But Marcus Chen, who gives water to strangers, I fear this is only the beginning of our story, not the end. The 3 ships landed around them, and Marcus could see tall, glowing figures stepping out. They moved toward the crash site, and Marcus could feel their anger and shock even from a distance. What do we do? He asked. Zarathiel took his hand. Her crystal fingers felt warm and strong. We face what comes together, she said.
The water has joined us now.
Whatever happens, you are not alone. Marcus squeezed her hand and nodded. He had no idea what he had started when he gave a dying alien princess a drink of water. But as the ethereal soldiers surrounded them, he knew that his simple act of kindness had changed everything. The ethereal soldiers moved like liquid light across the rocky ground. Marcus counted 12 of them, all tall and glowing like Zarathiel, but their light was cold and angry. They carried weapons that hummed with energy and made the air around them shimmer. The leader stepped forward. He was even taller than the others, with skin that glowed bright white instead of blue. His eyes were like burning stars, and when he spoke, his voice made Marcus's bones vibrate. Princess Zarathiel, the leader said in perfect English. You are alive. This is good, but you are not pure. He looked at Marcus with disgust. You have been touched by the primitive. Commander Veltar, Zarathiel replied, stepping in front of Marcus. This human saved my life. You will show him respect. Respect? Commander Veltar laughed, and the sound was like breaking glass. This creature has contaminated you. I can sense the bond from here. You have shared the sacred water with an alien. Marcus felt that strange warmth in his chest growing stronger. He could sense Zarathiel's fear, but also her determination to protect him. What's wrong with giving someone water? He asked. She was dying. Silence, primitive. Veltar raised his weapon. You do not understand what you have done. The Velthara is forbidden between species. You have poisoned our princess with your alien essence. I didn't poison anyone, Marcus said, getting angry. I helped someone who needed help. That's what decent people do. The other soldiers raised their weapons too, but Zarathiel held up her hand. Stop, she commanded. He speaks the truth. Marcus Chen gave me water freely, expecting nothing in return. He did not know our ways. That makes it worse, Veltar said. A proper bonding requires knowledge and consent from both souls. This abomination was created by accident. It must be cleansed. You cannot cleanse the Velthara, Zarathiel said firmly. Once the water is shared with pure intent, the bond is eternal. You know this, Commander. Marcus felt something happening inside his mind. It was like a door opening, letting in light and sound and feelings that were not his own. Through this new connection, he could feel Zarathiel's thoughts more clearly. She was trying to show him something important. Images flooded his mind. He saw the history of her people, the ethereal dominion spreading across the galaxy, conquering world after world. They took water from every planet they found, storing it in great crystal chambers on their homeworld. Water was power to them, and they hoarded it like treasure. Marcus saw something else, too. The ethereals had once been different. Long ago, they had shared water freely among themselves. But as their empire grew, their leaders decided that water was too precious to waste on the weak. Only the strongest and most pure could receive it. The Velthara had become a ceremony for the elite, a way to mark the most important bonds in their society. You see now, Zarathiel's voice whispered in his mind. My people have forgotten what water truly means. They have made it a symbol of power instead of a gift of life. Through his bond with Zarathiel, Marcus felt more than just her thoughts. He could sense the network of energy that connected all the ethereals. It was like a vast web of light stretching across space, carrying information and emotion from one mind to another. But there was something wrong with this network. Marcus could feel dark spaces in it, places where the light had been cut off. Those were the conquered worlds, the places where the ethereals had taken all the water and left nothing but death behind. This is incredible, Marcus whispered. I can see everything. Commander Veltar noticed the change in Marcus immediately. The contamination spreads, he said with horror. The alien is accessing our sacred network. This cannot be allowed. It is too late, Zarathiel said. The bond is complete. Marcus Chen can see what I see, feel what I feel. We are joined now. Marcus looked at his hands and gasped. His skin was beginning to glow with a faint blue light, just like Zarathiel's. He could feel his body changing, becoming something new. The water they had shared was transforming him at the cellular level. What's happening to me? He asked. You are becoming more than human, Zarathiel explained. The Velthara does not just join minds, it joins souls. You are gaining abilities that your species has never possessed. To prove her point, Zarathiel gestured toward Marcus's rover. Suddenly, Marcus could see inside the machine. He could sense every circuit, every wire, every drop of fluid in its engine. More than that, he could understand how it all worked together. The technology was as clear to him as his own heartbeat. Impossible, Veltar breathed. No alien has ever been able to interface with our systems. I'm not interfacing with your systems, Marcus said, understanding flooding through him. I'm seeing the connections. Everything is connected. Your ships, your weapons, your entire empire, it's all part of the same network. This was true. Through Zarathiel's memories, Marcus could see that all ethereal technology was linked together through quantum water crystals. Every ship, every weapon, every communication device contained water that had been blessed and purified by their priests. These crystals allowed instant communication across vast distances, but they also made every piece of ethereal technology vulnerable to someone who truly understood the network. Marcus reached out with his newly awakened senses and touched the mind of Commander Veltar's ship. Immediately, alarms began blaring from the vessel. Its engines shut down and its weapons powered off. Stop that immediately, Veltar shouted. I can't, Marcus said, amazed by his own power. It's like the ship wants to obey me, like it recognizes something in me now. Zarathiel smiled, and Marcus could feel her joy through their bond. The water knows truth, she said. It recognizes pure intent. Marcus gave water freely to save a life. That act of selfless giving has marked him as worthy in the eyes of our most sacred element. This is heresy, Veltar declared. You will both return with us to face judgment by the High Council. They will decide how to deal with this contamination. And if we refuse, Marcus asked, then you will be destroyed here and now. Marcus felt Zarathiel's hand slip into his. Through their connection, she was showing him something else, a hidden truth about her people that even she had only recently learned. The ethereal High Council was planning something terrible. They had found Earth and discovered its vast oceans. They were preparing to drain every drop of water from Marcus's homeworld, just as they had done to hundreds of others. My people are coming for your planet, Zarathiel said quietly. The invasion fleet is already being prepared. Earth has more water than they have seen in centuries. Marcus felt a cold rage building in his chest. You're going to attack Earth? Not me, Zarathiel said. But yes, my people plan to take your world's water, unless we stop them. We? Veltar laughed harshly. There is no we between alien species. You are enemies by nature. No, Marcus said, feeling the strength of his bond with Zarathiel. We're not enemies. We're something new. He reached out again with his expanded senses. this time touching all 12 ethereal soldiers at once. Their weapons shut down and their armor went dark. They stood frozen, unable to move as Marcus held their technology in his mental grip. "This is what humans can do when we work together," Marcus said. "We adapt, we learn, we find ways to help each other survive." Through the network, he could feel other ethereals on distant worlds. Some were horrified by the bond between him and Zarathiel, but others were curious. A few even felt hopeful. "The High Council will never accept this," Veltar warned. "They will send the entire fleet to destroy you both." "Then we better get ready," Marcus said, looking at Zarathiel. "We need to warn my people, and we need to find others among yours who still remember what water really means." Zarathiel squeezed his hand. "Together," she said. "Together," Marcus agreed. As the purple sun set over Kepler 442c, two very different beings stood hand in hand, preparing to face the greatest challenge either of their species had ever known. The water had joined them, and through that joining they had found a power that could change the galaxy. The ethereal High Council's judgment came through the quantum network like thunder across the galaxy. Marcus felt it hit his mind with crushing force, and beside him, Zarathiel cried out in pain as her own people rejected her. "By order of the High Council," Commander Veltar announced, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority, "Princess Zarathiel of the House of Crystal Light is hereby stripped of all rank and privilege. She is cast out from the ethereal dominion for willingly contaminating herself with alien essence." The words hit Zarathiel like physical blows. Through their bond, Marcus felt her anguish as centuries of royal heritage were torn away from her. But underneath the pain, he sensed something else. Relief. "And the human Marcus Chen," Veltar continued, "is declared an enemy of the Dominion. Any ethereal who aids him will share in his exile." "So be it," Zarathiel said, her voice steady despite the tears flowing down her crystalline cheeks. "I choose exile with one who shows true honor over a throne built on stolen water." Veltar's expression was filled with disgust. "You have one solar day to leave this system. After that, we will consider you both criminals to be hunted and destroyed." The ethereal soldiers backed toward their ships, their weapons still dark and useless in Marcus's mental grip. Only when they were safely aboard did Marcus release his hold on their technology. The three vessels lifted off silently, leaving Marcus and Zarathiel alone on the empty planet. "What do we do now?" Marcus asked. Zarathiel wiped her tears and looked toward the stars. "Now we run. And while we run, we learn what this bond has truly given us." They spent the next few hours gathering supplies from Marcus's station and salvaging what they could from Zarathiel's crashed ship. As they worked, Marcus discovered that his new abilities were growing stronger. He could not only interface with ethereal technology, but also improve it. He merged his human engineering knowledge with ethereal quantum science, creating hybrid systems that neither species could have built alone. This should not be possible, Zarathiel marveled as Marcus rebuilt her ship's engines using parts from his human equipment. "Our technologies use completely different principles." "Maybe that's the point," Marcus said, sealing a connection between an ethereal crystal matrix and a human fusion reactor. "Maybe our differences are what make us stronger together." When they finally lifted off from Kepler 442c, their ship was unlike anything either species had ever created. It could phase between dimensions like an ethereal vessel, but it also had the raw power and durability of human engineering. Most importantly, it could mask itself from ethereal sensors while still accessing their quantum network. As they traveled deeper into space, fleeing from the Dominion's hunters, Marcus and Zarathiel made a terrible discovery. Through the quantum network, they could see the ethereal invasion plans for Earth. The attack would come in 3 waves. First, orbital bombardment to destroy Earth's defenses. Second, atmospheric processors to extract all moisture from the planet. Third, collection ships to gather the water and carry it back to the ethereal homeworld. "How long do we have?" Marcus asked, his heart heavy with the knowledge that his homeworld was doomed. 2 of your months, perhaps less," Zarathiel replied. "The fleet is already moving toward the edge of your solar system." But as they studied the invasion plans, they found something else. Evidence of a conspiracy that went deeper than either of them had imagined. The High Council was not just planning to steal Earth's water, they were planning to use it to make themselves immortal. "The Fountain of Eternity," Zarathiel whispered as they uncovered ancient records hidden in the network's deepest archives. "It is a legend among my people, They say that one day we will find a world whose water can grant true immortality to those pure enough to drink it. And they think Earth is that world? Marcus asked. No, Sarathiel said, her face pale with understanding. They know it is. The humans are the proof. She showed him the ethereal observations of Earth. For decades, they had been studying human civilization from a distance, amazed by humanity's short lifespans but incredible adaptability. Humans lived for barely a century, yet they accomplished more in those brief years than ethereals did in their 1,000-year lifespans. They believe human water contains something special, Sarathiel explained. Something that makes your people so resilient and creative. They want to take that power for themselves. Marcus felt sick. They're going to commit genocide to steal our water so they can become better than they already are? Yes, and they will not stop with Earth. Every world with water-based life will be next. But their research also revealed something the High Council did not know. The Velthara bond between Marcus and Sarathiel was not unique. Throughout history, there had been other cases of interspecies water bonding. Each time the Dominion had covered it up, executing those involved to maintain their racial purity. We are not the first, Sarathiel said, showing Marcus hidden records of past bonds. There have been dozens of cases over the centuries. Ethereals who shared water with other species and gained incredible new abilities. What happened to them? They were hunted down and killed. But Marcus, look at what they could do before they died. The records were amazing. Bonded pairs had been able to heal incurable diseases, travel through space without ships, and even manipulate time itself. The combination of different species' strengths had created possibilities that neither could achieve alone. The High Council has been destroying our greatest potential, Sarathiel said with growing anger. They have been murdering those who could have led us to true enlightenment. Marcus studied the records more carefully and made another discovery. Sarathiel, look at this. The bonds can be shared. What do you mean? I mean, one bonded pair can create bonds with others. It spreads like a network, but a network of cooperation instead of control. They tested this theory when they stopped at a remote trading station to refuel their ship. The station was run by the Keth, a species of insect-like traders who were neutral in all galactic conflicts. When Marcus offered water to a dying Keth worker, the same golden warmth spread between them, creating a new bond. Suddenly, Marcus could understand the complex mathematics that governed Keth navigation systems. The Keth worker, in turn, gained access to human intuition and ethereal quantum perception through Marcus's existing bond with Sarathiel. Incredible, the Keth worker chittered in amazement. I can see the streams between stars. I can feel the currents of space itself. Word spread quickly through the trading station. Soon other species were volunteering to test the water bond. Each new connection added something to the growing network. Vorthan strength, Silken telepathy, Nordak technological mastery. This is what the High Council fears, Sarathiel realized. Not contamination, but unity. If the species of the galaxy joined together like this, the Dominion's power would end. But their experiment had attracted attention. Ethereal patrol ships began appearing near trading stations where bonded beings had been spotted. The hunts were beginning again. We need to reach Earth, Marcus said as they fled from another patrol. We need to warn them and help them prepare. It may already be too late, Sarathiel replied, monitoring the quantum network. The first wave of the invasion fleet has reached the outer planets of your solar system. Marcus felt desperation grip his heart, but then he felt something else. The strength of all the bonds they had created flowing through him. Humans, ethereals, Keth, Vorthan, and a dozen other species, all connected through the simple act of sharing water. Maybe it's not about stopping the invasion, he said. Maybe it's about changing what happens when they arrive. Through the network, Marcus could sense other ethereals who were questioning their orders. Some were horrified by the plan to commit genocide. Others were curious about the bonds they had heard rumors of. A few were actively working to sabotage the invasion from within. There are rebels in our own fleet, Sarathiel said with wonder. Ethereals who have remembered what our people used to be before the Empire made us into conquerors. Then let's give them something to rebel for, Marcus said. Let's show them what we can build together instead of what the High Council wants to destroy. As their hybrid ship raced toward Earth, Marcus and Sarathiel began broadcasting through the quantum network. They shared their memories of the water bond, their discoveries about interspecies cooperation, and their vision of a galaxy where all beings could thrive together. The response was immediate and powerful. Across the ethereal fleet, soldiers began to question their orders. On distant worlds, conquered species who had thought themselves powerless began to remember their strength. And on Earth, human scientists who had been studying strange energy readings in space suddenly understood that they were not alone in the universe. The battle for Earth would be fought not just with weapons and ships, but with ideas and hope. And Marcus Chen, a simple engineer who had once given water to a dying stranger, found himself at the center of a revolution that would change the galaxy forever. Whatever happens, Zarathiel said as they approached Earth's solar system, we face it together. Together, Marcus agreed, feeling the strength of their bond and all the others flowing through him like an endless river of light. The United Earth Defense Council met in emergency session as Marcus and Zarathiel's ship approached Earth's atmosphere. Admiral Sarah Martinez stood before the massive holographic display, showing alien vessels gathering at the edge of their solar system, her face grim with the weight of humanity's first contact with hostile aliens. The readings are confirmed, she announced to the room full of military leaders and scientists. We have over 300 unknown vessels moving into attack formation. They'll reach Earth in 18 hours. Dr. James Park, head of the Xenobiology Department, raised his hand. Admiral, we're also detecting a smaller vessel requesting permission to land. It's using our own communication frequencies and claims to carry a human citizen named Marcus Chen. Chen? Admiral Martinez frowned. That name sounds familiar. He's the terraforming engineer we sent to Kepler 442c 3 years ago, Dr. Park explained. But according to our records, he should be alone out there. Not anymore, came a voice from the communication system. The room fell silent as Marcus's voice filled the chamber. Admiral Martinez, this is Marcus Chen. I'm requesting immediate clearance to land at Geneva Spaceport. I have critical information about the incoming alien fleet, and I'm not alone. Chen, where the hell have you been? Admiral Martinez demanded. And what do you mean you're not alone? I'm traveling with Princess Zarathiel of the Ethereal Dominion. She's one of them, but she's trying to help us. Admiral, they're not here to conquer us in the way you think. They're here to steal our water. All of it. The room erupted in confused voices, but Admiral Martinez called for silence. Explain quickly, Chen, we don't have much time. As Marcus's ship descended toward Earth, he broadcast everything he had learned about the Ethereal Dominion, the water bonds, and the true purpose of the invasion. The story was so incredible that most of the council members thought he had lost his mind. But Dr. Park was studying the energy readings from Marcus's ship, and what he saw changed everything. Admiral, Dr. Park said quietly, this ship is using technology that's at least 1,000 years ahead of ours. But the energy signatures, some of them are definitely human. Somehow Chen has merged our technology with theirs. When Marcus and Zarathiel finally stood before the Defense Council, the reaction was exactly what they had expected. Fear, suspicion, and disbelief filled the room. Zarathiel's crystalline appearance caused several guards to reach for their weapons, while Marcus's glowing skin made others wonder if he was still human. You want us to believe, Admiral Martinez said slowly, that you accidentally bonded with an alien princess by giving her water, and now you can control their technology. Not control, Marcus corrected. Understand, work with. The water bond doesn't make me superior to their technology. It makes me compatible with it. Prove it, Admiral Martinez demanded. Marcus walked over to the room's main computer terminal. Without touching the keyboard, he accessed every military satellite around Earth, every defense system, every communication network. In seconds, he had mapped the entire planet's defensive capabilities and found ways to improve them using ethereal quantum principles. Your orbital defense platforms are using linear targeting systems, Marcus said, his eyes glowing as he interfaced with the networks. But space is curved. If you modify the targeting computers with quantum probability matrices, you can hit targets that haven't even appeared yet. Dr. Park stared at the data flowing across his screens. This is impossible. He's upgrading our systems in real time using principles we haven't even discovered yet. It is not impossible. Zarathiel spoke for the first time, her musical voice echoing through the chamber. It is what happens when different forms of intelligence work together instead of against each other. And we're supposed to trust you? General Thompson, head of Earth's ground forces, stood up aggressively. Your people are about to attack our world and you expect us to believe you're here to help? I understand your suspicion, Zarathiel replied calmly. But consider this, if I wanted to harm you, would I need to land and ask permission? My people's weapons could destroy this entire city from orbit. Marcus felt the fear and anger in the room, but he also sensed something else through his enhanced perceptions. Some of the humans present were curious. A few were even excited about the possibilities that interspecies cooperation might bring. Admiral, Marcus said, I know this is hard to accept, but I can show you something that might change your mind about what humans are capable of. He gestured to Dr. Park. Doctor, you've spent your career wondering if we're alone in the universe. Would you be willing to try something that could give you the ability to communicate with any alien species we encounter? Dr. Park looked nervous but intrigued. What exactly are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we share water, Marcus said simply. The same way Zarathiel and I did. It will create a bond between us, and through that bond you'll gain access to everything I've learned about ethereal science. Absolutely not, General Thompson protested. We're not letting you contaminate our people with alien influence. It's not contamination, Marcus said firmly. It's evolution, and right now it's our only chance to survive what's coming. Admiral Martinez looked at the tactical display showing the approaching ethereal fleet. Earth's defenses were impressive by human standards, but they were nothing compared to the technology heading toward them. Dr. Park, it's your choice, but decide quickly. Dr. Park took a deep breath and nodded. If there's a chance this could help us save Earth, I'll try it. Marcus pulled out a bottle of water from his pack, the same kind he had offered to Zarathiel months ago. He took a sip, then handed it to Dr. Park. Just drink, Marcus said, and think about wanting to help others understand. Dr. Park drank from the bottle, and immediately, the now familiar golden warmth spread between them. The scientist gasped as new knowledge flooded his mind. Not just facts about ethereal science, but a completely new way of thinking about the universe. I can see it, Dr. Park whispered in amazement. The quantum foam underlying reality, the way consciousness interacts with matter, the connections between all living things. He looked up at the council with wonder. This isn't just about sharing technology. This is about sharing perspective. Word of Dr. Park's transformation spread quickly through Earth's scientific community. Within hours, researchers from around the world were volunteering to join the Waterbond network. Each new connection added human knowledge to the growing web of interspecies understanding. But the network revealed something troubling. Through their connections to rebelling ethereals in the invasion fleet, Marcus and Zarathiel learned that the High Council had anticipated resistance. They had prepared a backup plan that would ensure Earth's destruction, even if some of their own forces refused to fight. Planet crackers, Zarathiel explained to the horrified council. Devices that can split a world apart from its core. If the High Council cannot take Earth's water, they will destroy the planet to prevent anyone else from claiming it. How many of these devices do they have? Admiral Martinez asked. 3, Marcus replied, his consciousness linked to rebel ethereals throughout the fleet. More than enough to tear Earth apart. General Thompson slammed his fist on the table. Then we fight with everything we have. Humans don't surrender to threats. Fighting won't be enough, Marcus said, but cooperation might be. Over the next few hours, as the ethereal fleet drew closer to Earth, something unprecedented happened in human history. Thousands of people volunteered to join the Waterbond network, sharing their knowledge and perspectives with aliens they had never met. Scientists, soldiers, engineers, doctors, teachers, and farmers all contributed their unique understanding to the growing collective. Through the network, humans began working directly with rebel ethereals to sabotage the invasion from within. Human hackers found ways to disrupt ethereal communication systems. Human engineers helped rebel forces disable planet cracker devices. Human diplomats made contact with other species in the galaxy who had suffered under ethereal rule. This is incredible, Admiral Martinez said as she watched human and alien minds working together through the quantum network. We're not just defending Earth, we're building something entirely new. Yes, Zarathiel agreed. You are building the future that my people abandoned when they chose conquest over cooperation. But the High Council had one more surprise waiting. As the invasion fleet entered Earth's orbital space, they activated a massive quantum disruption field designed to sever all water bonds and leave the rebels powerless. The field hit like a hammer blow to the mind. Bonded humans screamed in agony as their connections to the network were severed. Rebel ethereals found themselves cut off from their allies and surrounded by loyal forces. "The bonds are broken," Dr. Park gasped, blood trickling from his nose. "We can't reach the network anymore." But Marcus and Zarathiel, as the original bonded pair, retained a thread of connection. Through that thread, Marcus felt something that filled him with hope, the unbreakable will of humanity to adapt and overcome. "The bonds may be severed," Marcus said, standing up despite his pain, "but the knowledge remains. Everything we learned, everything we shared, it's still in our minds." He looked around the room at the humans who had joined the network. Each of them now carried a piece of alien knowledge, a fragment of Inter. The battle for Earth began at dawn over the Pacific Ocean. Ethereal ships descended through the atmosphere like falling stars, their crystalline hulls reflecting the morning sun in brilliant rainbows. But instead of the unified attack the High Council had planned, chaos erupted across the invasion fleet. Marcus stood on the bridge of Earth's primary orbital defense station, his hand intertwined with Zarathiel's as they watched their carefully laid plans unfold. Even with the quantum disruption field severing most of the bond network, enough connections remained to coordinate the resistance. "Rebel Squadron 7 has taken control of the eastern flank," Dr. Park reported, his enhanced mind processing information from a dozen different sources. "They're turning their weapons on the Loyalist forces." Admiral Martinez watched in amazement as ethereal ships began fighting each other high above Earth. "I've never seen anything like this. An entire invasion force tearing itself apart." "This is what happens," Zarathiel said with satisfaction, "when a people remember what they truly stand for instead of what they have been ordered to believe." But the High Council's flagship, the massive dreadnought Heart of Crystal, remained untouched by the rebellion. Its quantum shielding protected it from both external attack and internal sabotage. From within this floating fortress, the three most powerful ethereals in the galaxy prepared to activate their ultimate weapon. Planet Cracker deployment beginning, came the cold voice of High Counselor Sektar across all frequencies. "The human world will be destroyed as an example to any who would dare oppose the Dominion." Marcus felt a chill of fear, but beside him, Zarathiel squeezed his hand. "There is still hope," she whispered. "The disruption field works both ways. They cannot maintain it and use the planet crackers at the same time." She was right. As the High Council prepared their final weapon, they had to lower their interference field to channel enough power for planetary destruction. Immediately, the bond network snapped back to life with painful intensity. Marcus gasped as thousands of minds suddenly reconnected to his consciousness. Human scientists, rebel ethereals, and allied aliens from across the galaxy, all linked together in one massive web of shared thought and purpose. "Now," Marcus said, his voice carrying across the network to every bonded being in the fleet, "show them what we can accomplish together." What happened next would be remembered in the histories of 100 species. Instead of trying to destroy the High Council's ship, the network did something unprecedented. They embraced it, Marcus and Zarathiel, working as one mind through their perfect bond, reached out through the quantum connections that linked all ethereal technology. But instead of using force or deception, they offered the same thing Marcus had offered on that distant planet months ago: water, freely given. The offer rippled through every system on the Heart of Crystal. The ship's quantum cores, built around sacred water crystals, resonated with the pure intent behind the gesture. For the first time in centuries, ethereal technology was being offered cooperation instead of commanded to obey. The ship's AI, a crystalline intelligence that had been enslaved to serve the High Council, suddenly found itself free to make its own choices. It chose to accept the gift of water bond, linking its vast processing power to the rebellion network. Impossible. High Counselor Sektar screamed as his own ship turned against him. Technology cannot make choices. It obeys its masters. Technology serves those who understand it, Marcus replied, his consciousness now merged with the ship's systems. And understanding comes through cooperation, not domination. With the flagship's power now part of the network, Marcus and Zarathiel attempted something that had never been done before. Instead of destroying the planet crackers, they transformed them. The devices designed to tear worlds apart became instruments of creation. Their massive energies, redirected through the bond network's collective will, began to terraform the dead moons around Earth. Barren rock became fertile soil. Thin atmospheres thickened into breathable air. And most importantly, water began to flow. You see what we can build together? Zarathiel broadcast to every being in the fleet. Destruction is easy. Creation requires trust. Across the ethereal fleet, more and more ships joined the rebellion. Soldiers who had lived their entire lives believing in racial superiority suddenly experienced the thoughts and feelings of other species. Many wept as they realized the pain their empire had caused. But the High Council had one final trick. Unable to use their planet crackers, they activated a quantum cascade that would drain all the water from Earth's oceans in a matter of minutes. If they could not conquer the planet, they would at least steal its precious resource. Marcus felt the oceans beginning to disappear and knew he had to act fast. But the scale of what was needed was beyond any individual, no matter how enhanced. He would need to risk everything on one desperate gamble. Zarathiel, he said, turning to look into her star-filled eyes, I need you to trust me completely. I have trusted you since the moment you gave me water, she replied. What do you need? I need you to help me share our bond with everyone. Not just other individuals, but with all of humanity. All of your people, everyone in this fleet. I need to make the water bond big enough to save the world. Zarathiel understood immediately. What Marcus was suggesting had never been attempted. The Velthara had always been between individuals. To expand it to entire populations could destroy their minds or transform them into something unrecognizable. It could kill us, she warned. Staying separate will definitely kill us, Marcus replied, but together we might become something that can heal the galaxy. Zarathiel nodded and placed her other hand over their joined fingers. Then my heart is yours, she whispered, as yours is mine. The expansion began slowly, rippling out from their joined consciousness like waves in a cosmic ocean. Every human who had joined the bond network became a conduit, spreading the connection to others around them. Ethereal rebels shared the link with their comrades. Allied species passed it to their fleets. Within minutes, millions of minds were connected in one vast network of shared experience. The sensation was overwhelming, joy and fear, hope and despair, love and anger all flowing together in a torrent of collective consciousness. But something incredible happened. Instead of chaos, the network found harmony. Different perspectives didn't clash. They complemented each other. Human creativity enhanced ethereal wisdom. Keth logic balanced Vorthon emotion. Each species contributed something unique to the whole. Through this unprecedented unity, Marcus reached out to the quantum cascade that was draining Earth's oceans. But instead of fighting it, he transformed it. The stolen water didn't disappear into ethereal storage tanks. Instead, it spread across the galaxy through the bond network, carrying with it the essence of cooperation and shared purpose. Every world that had been left barren by ethereal conquest suddenly bloomed with new life. Dead planets became gardens. Extinct species found their homeworlds restored. The water that should have been hoarded by the High Council instead became a gift that healed the wounds of empire. High Counselor Sektar watched his life's work crumble around him. You have destroyed everything we built, he said with bitter defeat. No, Zarathiel replied, her consciousness speaking through the network that now connected the galaxy. We have replaced what you built with something better. The war ended not with victory or defeat, but with transformation. The ethereal dominion dissolved as its people chose cooperation over conquest. Earth became the first world in a new galactic alliance where water was shared freely among all species. Marcus and Zarathiel stood together on the shores of Lake Geneva, watching as the first interspecies colonies took shape on the newly terraformed moons above. Their bond had grown beyond anything either could have imagined, but at its heart, it remained what it had always been. Two beings who cared for each other. Do you ever regret giving me that water? Zarathiel asked. Marcus smiled and squeezed her crystalline hand. Never, it was the best decision I ever made. Even though it changed everything. Especially because it changed everything. Above them, the stars shone brighter than they ever had before. Each point of light represented not a distant, unreachable world, but a home where different species worked together, shared their knowledge, and grew stronger through their unity. The galaxy had learned a simple truth that Marcus Chen had always known. When someone needs help, you help them. When someone is thirsty, you give them water. And sometimes that simple act of kindness can transform the universe. In the months that followed, as the new galactic alliance grew and flourished, Poets and historians would debate the deeper meanings of the water war. But for Marcus and Zarathiel, the meaning was simple and clear. Love shared is love multiplied. Water given freely becomes an ocean, and two hearts joined in trust and understanding can indeed change the galaxy forever. As the purple sunset painted the sky above their new world, Marcus and Zarathiel walked hand in hand along the water's edge, their hearts beating in perfect rhythm, their souls intertwined for all eternity. Behind them, the lights of a dozen different species settlements twinkled like